The Mandalorian people have a history steeped in war. Throughout their history, the biggest threats to their way of life did not come from beyond their star system. It came from within their own ranks. This transmission is going to explore the fall of Concordia and how Death Watch rose again. From an outsider's perspective, Concordia could be seen as a quiet moon orbiting the planet Mandalore, the center of the Mandalorian civilization. It was known to the wider galaxy for its mines, settlements, and loyal citizens. In the time leading up to the Clone Wars, the Mandalorian people had a different view on things. This moon was the place where their warrior past was pushed aside. The surface was scarred by overmining. The quiet settlements were only quiet because the citizens were forced into loyalty through strict governing. This would be the start of Mandalore's pacifist movement. The new Mandalorian government claimed it was a place where ancient warriors had been exiled, forced to live out their days away from the impressive domed cities of the core world. Satine Kryze, the ruler of Mandalore at the time, used Concordia as proof that their people should be devoted to peace. The part of this vision Satine did not see was insurrection brewing below. Death Watch was growing in strength. What was supposed to be the home of a new peace became the home of a Death Watch led by Pre Vizsla. He was the legal serving governor who was appointed because Satine believed that he was a leader in the new Mandalorian movement. He played his part all the while plotting to overthrow the new government and return Mandalore to its warrior ways. Death Watch was not just a ragged band of a handful of disgruntled former soldiers. It was a full-fledged army. In the old mines, they had armories, training grounds, and stores of supplies. Pre Vizsla was proud to trace his roots directly to Tar Vizsla, the creator of the Darksaber, a weapon that was a symbol of power and control for the Mandalorian people. This weapon, now back in the hands of a Vizsla, was Pre's claim to legitimacy. He felt too many young Mandalorians had been disillusioned by Satine's pacifist stance, and the old ways of Mandalorian might would be forgotten in time. The Republic got involved when a Jedi Knight, Obi-Wan Kenobi, went to the Mandalore system to get a read on the situation. What looked like a simple nearby colony was revealed to be a formidable military stronghold. Death Watch was not content to stockpile resources and train. That would be scary enough in itself. They were making actionable plans and carrying out a terror campaign against their own people. Although the secret was exposed, the Republic was hesitant to get involved. Mandalore was a newly pacifist system. They were firm in their stance to stay neutral during the Clone Wars. If the Republic sent a military force to battle a sizable faction of Mandalorians, it could drag the entire system into the conflict. Furthermore, Satine was the leader of a collection of neutral systems. Mandalore may end up being the first domino to fall in a long line, making the Clone Wars that much worse. The hesitation, while understandable to a degree, gave Death Watch the time and space that it needed to grow. If you're getting value or entertainment out of any of my transmissions, it would mean a lot if you would join the Remnant and subscribe. Concordia wasn't just a base or a place to lay low. It was Vizsla making a strong political statement. He chose this moon for the same reason Satine did. Her proof of peace was their weapon against her. Satine saw the moon and its history of exiling old warriors here as proof that these instincts could be safely contained. Death Watch saw it as proof that the pacifist stance made them weak. The galaxy saw the entire scenario as proof that the Mandalorians were a violent people who were incapable of truly changing their ways. Concordia would evolve as a symbol during the course of this inner conflict. It would become known as the place where the lie of peace was unmasked and a new civil war broke out amongst the Mandalorians. The legacy of Concordia did not end with the death of Pre Vizsla either. After he was killed by his recent ally, Maul, Bo-Katan Kryze, the sister of Satine, attempts to carry on Death Watch's work in a way, but reforming it to be a little bit more balanced and calling themselves the Night Owls. The remaining forces of this faction were forced off the moon and took refuge in similar places around the Mandalorian system. Concordia loses its strategic importance after the Clone Wars, but the lessons remain. Mandalore can't suppress its bloody past for long, especially when doubt and insurrection are allowed to fester in the shadows. Legends skews the details a bit. Death Watch is actually fleshed out even further, but Concordia appears a lot less. Legends describe this terrorist cell as an extremist offshoot that was born in the days of Jaster Muriel and Jango Fett. That is before Fett went alone into the galaxy to make his name as a bounty hunter. Muriel was not part of Death Watch. He directly opposed them. Muriel wasn't a pacifist either. He was in favor of a more honorable code for the Mandalorians that would lessen their warring without condemning it outright. He saw Death Watch as a group that wasn't returning to a tradition, but but as sowing chaos and violence. In this context, Death Watch represents Mandalore's darker instincts. Without being a people that traditionally actively call on the Force, this is an example of the dark side creeping in to corrupt the light. The specific use of Concordia as a symbol and base is introduced in canon. The spirit of it is found in legends as well. Death Watch was always lurking in the shadows, waiting for a chance to strike. This part of Mandalorian history is a warning, with lessons to be extracted from it. For the Mandalorian people, the lesson is clear. If they try to bury their warrior past, it will always find a way to claw its way back to the surface. Peace cannot be built on a foundation of illusions and cover-ups. It has to be guarded with honesty and unity, or it will be torn apart by those who twist tradition and nostalgia for their own gain. The wider galaxy can see the events of Concordia and this latest Mandalorian civil war as a lesson in not underestimating a small disgruntled group. These groups, if left alone as the Republic decided they should be, can grow in strength and effectiveness with time. These differing opinions led to more war, foreign rule, and eventually a purge of the Mandalorian way of life by the Empire. The audience can see this story as a lesson in the fragility of peace itself. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It's a constant effort to resist fear, vengeance, and division, much like the constant struggle of the light and dark sides of the Force. Satine saw Concordia as proof that Mandalore had changed. Pre Vizsla turned it into proof that it hadn't. The truth, as it usually does, can be found somewhere in the middle. Peace is possible, but only if people are willing to defend it as fiercely as they once defended war. Check out this transmission next to dive even deeper on the Mandalorian people.